Hey, what's up? It's your favorite doctors, Dr. J.
And Dr. K.
Wow. Um, the story arc for Brooke has been, truly, I think, really amazing for me personally just to see this arc as a character. Just the way Usa Aduba was played a character that was really struggling with a lot of vulnerabilities. And, behind that fashion that she had, like the high fashion clothing, shout out to
Sure.
her stylist.
Mm-hmm.
Her shoe game is on point. But she showed like that even therapists can be a hot mess. And, you know,
It is
she,
true. It
she
is true.
showed that, I mean, with alcoholism, but the main thing um, I think ever since she gave herself therapy, she kind of knew that Adam was not for her.
Mm-hmm.
This alcohol was not for her. Crossing boundaries is not for her. And even Kat finding her son is something that she has to let go because it wasn't about her son. It wasn't about all these things. It was really about fear. And it's really a fear of Brooke being alone, fear of Brooke not having a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And these are a lot of things that I think those of us who are professional and middle age go through because a big part of it is you work so hard to achieve this status, but then it comes at a price.
Mm-hmm.
It's a debt that has to be paid. And the debt she paid was maybe mothering, maybe not having as much of a good time. And I think that's why she was drawn to Adam. I felt like, and I hear a lot of people in comments and stuff that say they really don't like Adam. I really felt sorry for Adam because Adam, in his mind, hopes that Brooke will see his evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And he realizes that he deserves better, but he's not acting in such a way, in the same way that Brooke is with the alcohol. I think
Mm-hmm.
Brooke is his substance. And he realizes that, you know, all this time she has him around is because it gives her permission to dull or shine, but not
Mm-hmm.
dull it enough because she has this level that I'm at least I'm not as low as Adam, And then
Mm-hmm.
he starts saying, "Have you ever thought about maybe you're not good for me?" And I thought that was powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was kind of sad because she packed his clothes, so that says to me that you know that's foreshadowing that this relationship is over.
Mm-hmm.
And but on the positive, after we see her put her son's papers in the trash with the alcohol bottles, it felt good to see her as the morning is rising, like
Mm-hmm.
new birth,
Mm-hmm.
reconnecting with Rita.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my question and thoughts with you is, do you think Brooke is going to be okay the second time around with her sobriety?
Is this the second time around, or is it three or four? And we don't know. Who knows? I mean, who knows? I think we don't have crystal balls to know what's going to happen and predict the future. But I think you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I think she did hit that point, at least for now. And she knew what it meant calling Rita, because Rita's not going to play. So hopefully it will stick this time. It's just kind of a wait and see. But sobriety, and again, substance use disorders isn't my thing. But what I do know is it's an ongoing work. There's never, you're just cured now, but you're constantly working it. And not that it has to be an arduous task all the time, but it's something that has to be worked. No different, even if you didn't have a substance use disorder. If you battle with depression or any other health issues, there's maintenance. There's maintenance that has to take place. So it's just, is she ready to get there and then maintain it?
Mhm.
So,
Like I said, when I look at her story arc, I just was looking at her vulnerability, but I think she sort of found her strength.
Mm,
And I think the thing that I will walk away with is she was basically denying herself, wanting to dull her shine, blamed her father, didn't look at her mother.
mhm,
I think the what I got out of it is really Socrates, know thyself. Like
mm,
you have to examine. One has to examine their own life and
mhm,
discover their truth. I think when we saw Brooke looking at mirrors and stepping out, I believe she beginning to see her truth. And truth sometimes comes at a cost. Sometimes
mhm,
our journey to healing means that we have to cut certain people off.
mhm.
So, although I'm kind of bummed that Adam gets the short end of the stick, but I think, in terms of he wanted this, but it could never be because she can never be fully healed because he represents that toxicity
Mhm.
that is a part of her life.
Yeah.
So it's really about learning thyself, standing in your truth,
Mhm.
and that's what I got out of it as a cultural critic, English major. But what do you think about how they portrayed like Brooke as a therapist, and with these type of struggles? Does it hurt the profession, or what
Hmm.
do you think about that?
I think anything that makes therapy, the process therapist more relatable is a good thing. And people have to know number one that it's fiction, but that we do have fail safes, and we do. I mean, she was avoiding her supervisor, which that was a kind of weird relationship too, and it being long distance during this pandemic. He's on the global scene, so it made it harder. But most people would have somebody who's closer within their sphere who can come and just show up and like, where are you? What's going on? So I think that was an interesting situation. But I mean, even the idea that, I have a supervisor or I'm in therapy myself, I think that's realistic. That therapists do have, there's checks and balances, and there ought to be. And there ought to be, we all have ethical boards and legal boards and licensure boards and all that kind of thing to
Hmm.
look at it. Because I think somebody was like, "Did you think I was going to call when you said that?" I mean, so that came up too, like her crossing boundaries. Would they report her to somebody for things she had said and done? So no, I don't think it makes the profession look poorly. I think if people see beyond the mess, they can see that she's a human going through her own things, excuse me, and then realizes that boundaries are crossed for others and herself, she needs to check it and then come back, when she's more able. And that's really how the system works. And there even our ethics guidelines have remediation procedures for that, knowing that people are human and that they're going to struggle at times. So, no, I hope it encourages more people to get in therapy and seek out diverse people who may understand their experiences, a little more or in a different way. So,
I would say, my last comment would be I really enjoyed this season of In Treatment season 4. Not more but different from in treatment seasons 1 through 3. As I stated earlier, in treatment meant so much to me because the character Blair Underwood was, by me seeing a person that looked like me, was the first person that really inspired me to go out to get mental health and therapy as I was going through crisis and trying times. I would say the story from a storytelling aspect, it was cool to see some of these stories center around people that we normally don't think of. That historically, it's been a stigma for people of color to receive therapy.
mhm,
So, from a storytelling standpoint, it was awesome to see these rich, complex stories. Um, that touch in such a way. And like I said, it doesn't make Paul Weston less than Brooke Taylor. I think it's just a different story, and I appreciate that, and I hope that the legacy of In Treatment continues. So what about you from a therapy standpoint? From a therapist standpoint, do you think it could be helpful for therapy students or something?
Oh, I mean, anything that talks about the human condition and relationships, I think is helpful. Just to analyze, just to look at, does this make sense? Does this seem helpful? What does the research say? Because we definitely talk about evidence-based practices. And so to compare that, I saw a number of comments in different forums that I'm in where people looked at Paul in years ago and saying, well, how does this compare? What are the things, any ethical issues and all that kind of stuff. So people do look at it, people use it. We don't have a lot of mental health works, I don't think. I mean, when we talk about movies, TV shows, and things like that, like we don't really have a lot. So I think anything that makes it, again, relatable to popular culture, to lay people, I think is a good thing for the field.
Well, hey, this is our wrap up of In Treatment Season 4, the reboot. Remember to click and subscribe. And like I said, hit us up in the comments if you find another psychological show or storytelling show or something that you would like a therapist and an English professor to work on. So until next season, this is Dr. J
and Dr. K.
and we out on the couch. Take care.